You know the play, yeah? Nafsheinu tiksa, tiksa Hashem. Nafsheinu tiksa, tiksa Hashem. Yezeinu Let's do something. No, this one's not shaping, so
it's too difficult. You did two different songs.
The maker's mark, capital M. the ice he Baby Israel, man, Mark with Maker, Chaim.
Oh, Chaim.
It's crazy. Chaim. Yeshiva. So first of all, Eli Shekoyach. Thank you, man. But I'm just saying, do this in such a beautiful way. You already did one. Hanukkah is a beautiful way to continue to be blessed and married and to be all of us are waiting in honest Hopefully
the first of many. Also, I'm going to pass around a cup. No need to give, but if you want to give up to 10 shekel, feel free. So, thank you.
So I'm very filled with just personally, just filled with hope, just seeing your faces. Like it's a lot of you haven't met yet. Hopefully my wife is going to make it, and it's very nice to just be in a room with all of you, and very special, very wonderful. And I hope that I can help. And I want to just say that interruption over here is you must interrupt me. Like if I say anything that you want to, whatever it may be, you want to raise a question or know more about or disagree. Like the guys in Yeshiva know I'm very interruptible. I'm very I strive for interruptibility. Chaim. And Bezos Hashem, we'll learn a little bit from Rabbeinu. This is Torah 272 in the Kutim Ran. In the Hebrew letters, it's Reish Ayin Bet. It's usually when people write it out, they write Ayin Reish Bet because Reish Ayin Bet spells Ra'av, which is a famine. And Ayin Reish Bet spells sweet, which is Bezos Hashem. Like I was thinking about it just in the car right over here, like that. It's there's a famine that's going on right now in our generation in many aspects and in many ways. We're like it may look good on the outside, but we're parched and it's like at our last breath, often, more often than we care to admit, and I care to admit. L'chaim, first of all. Did I mention L'chaim? Okay.
You can never stop mentioning your
So we're really the amount of challenges and squeezings that are going on the outside and even more painfully on the inside these days are really it needs to just be acknowledged that we're all in this, and there's a lot of shades and colors and types of pain out there, and one of the strongest things that you can do is just get together, just literally just get together. And already you see in each other how much we appreciate each other, just being able to gather, just being able to together for a holy purpose, and we're very blessed. We're gathering in Yerushalayim, which is absolutely incredible. And if we would ask all our great grandparents, do you expect your great grandchildren to be gathering to learn Torah in Yerushalayim? Pretty amazing. We have to hold on to that. So, Bezos Hashem, learning Torah, Reish Ayin Bet will change, bring in a little bit of sweetness and much so needed into this Ra'av. So Rabbeinu says like this: Hayom in Bekolo Tishma'u. Today, if you will hear his voice. So this is a pasuk that we say in Kabbalah Shabbos, Tehillim 95. Looking around it. Hayom in Bekolo Tishma'u. Zeh klal gadol b'avodas Hashem. This is your general rule in service of Hashem. Shelo yasim l'neged einav kim osa hayom. To not put before your eyes anything but today. Okay. That day that you're in. So whether this is in terms of financial matters and needs, one must not be preoccupied from one day to the next. But here he says, to be worried about tomorrow. This is also Chazal brings us in connection to the man. The man came every day, and that you eat what you have today, and don't try to save over for tomorrow. Don't be in a overly concerned place for tomorrow. And so with the service of Hashem, so it is with the service of Hashem, not to place before one's eyes anything but this day and this, and also Sha'ah, which I think Sha'ah here means moment. This moment that you're in, this time, this particular time. Key. When a person wants to enter into the service of Hashem, it seems to the person like it's a heavy burden. And not just it's heavy, it feels like an unbearable burden. Chaim. Right, the Rebbe is telling us, that's it. You want to serve Hashem? You know what it's going to feel like? An unbearable burden. That's what it's going to feel like. Just in case like you didn't feel that way yet, just or maybe you're afraid to name it. It feels like an unbearable burden. An unbearable burden. Masak kaved. There's just no possible way I can carry this. But if you can put into your mind that all there is today. All there is today. I think there's so much to learn. There's so many character traits I have to work out. There's so much davening I know how to daven. There's all kinds of bad habits. Fixings with my family. Fixings. So much. How can I possibly ever? But if you think that you have only that day, so when we can really actually think that all we have is that day, the Rebbe says something, it's a very short Torah. He says, Lo yihya lo masa klal. It won't feel like a burden at all. This is like 0 to 1,000,000 in like 2 seconds. From unbearable burden to not being a burden at all. Not that it goes to being a burden that's bearable. It turns into not being a burden at all. That's quite the turnaround. So like, think about this. How could that be? It goes from the unbearable burden to when I can focus just on today, it becomes not a burden at all. I think, okay, I'll give you thoughts in a minute. I want to get to the end of it because it's just a few more lines, and then we'll take it apart. And please, like you said, Chaim, don't forget to interrupt. Make his mark. As and furthermore, there's another thing, which is not to put off for the next day. Not say tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll daven with real intent and with putting my full energies into the prayers. And further with other types of service of Hashem. Because all we really have in this world is that day. Even that moment that you're standing. Tomorrow is a completely different reality, completely different world. Today, if his voice you shall hear. Hayom dafka v'havein. Hayom specifically. Understand this. Chaim. So that's his Torah. That's Rabbeinu. This is Rabbeinu. Ad kan lashon Rabbeinu. Now I'll try and say a little bit.
Can we see it one more time?
Yeah, you want to read through it one more time? Absolutely. Hayom in the kol tishmau. Today, if your voice is shavir. Zeh klal gadol avodas Hashem. This is a general rule in service of Hashem. Shelo yasim neged einav kimos hayom. To not put before your eyes anything but only that day. Hein ve'esek parnas v'tuchkuso. Whether this has to do with finances and different physical needs. One must not think from one day to the next. Move as far as and so with service of Hashem. Don't put before your eyes just that day and that time you're in. Because when a person wants to enter into Hashem's service, it seems the person like a heavy burden. Because when it seems a burden that is impossible to bear. But if a person thinks, I have only today, will not be a burden at all. Not be a burden at all. Chaim. To today. Chaim. To now. Will not be a burden at all. Will not be a burden at all. The tzaddik said it will not be a burden at all. And furthermore, you should not put yourself off from one day to the next. To say tomorrow I'll start, tomorrow I'll daven, tomorrow I'll daven with intent and strength, putting my strength into the prayers as is right. And so too with other types of service of Hashem. Because all we actually have is this day. And this moment, this hour that we're in. Because tomorrow is a totally different day. Hayom goes back to the pasuk. Today, if you shall hear his voice, Hayom dafka v'havein. Specifically, understand this. Right? Chaim. You mentioned Chaim. Thank you, the maker's mark. Shkoyach to Eli. Shkoyach to everybody. I really, it's making my day. It's a big simcha. So, so this, I want to just start with this turnaround, and don't be shy. Like, just because I'm talking, you must just interrupt as is. If whatever your heart tells you, just don't be shy. Okay.
I just want to interrupt for a second. I just want to say the
Chaim. Okay. This turnaround that he says, right? That the moment we want to serve Hashem, nidmeh, it seems to us that it's this unbearable burden. But when we can just look at the right. To tell you, my friend Nati told me yesterday. Nati. His last name is Weinberg. Mansi.
Oh, shit.
No, Nati. Well, yeah. Gentle soul. Good soul. He said when we were coming into Eretz Yisrael, there were these lands of this Og and Sichon, these two lands of these two kings, and we had to break through. And the capital city of one of them was called Cheshbon. Right, so Cheshbon is like all of it means also math. It means also like all the calculations, all the Cheshbonot that we make. This and that, the worries, the feelings of the past and of the future, everything that takes us away from life. To get there to Israel, you have to kill the king of Cheshbon. To kill the king of Cheshbon to get there to Israel. It's a good word, right? Just, kill the king of Cheshbon. Chaim.
That's how you kill the king of Cheshbon.
What?
That's how you kill the king
What?
of
Making the Chaim? Yeah.
That's the only way.
So, there's so much that pulls us. That's one thing. Is Sur Miranda. So what how does this have to do with dating? Is
If you drink enough times, it has to do with dating.
Hayom is about your dating. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay. Is that I think that to really burnout, I've experienced burnout in my way, which was I wrote a PhD. That was insane. Took me many years and totally. I really burned out. I know, like I'm not saying that for the praises. I'm saying for the understand that it was painful. And Baruch Hashem that I did it. Baruch Hashem. But it is hard. It's insane.
In what?
In religion, I believe it or not, I wrote about Rebbe Nachman of Breslove. If anybody wants, I'll be thrilled to with you. Although very few of my friends have actually read it from beginning to end, because it's an insane thing. 600 footnotes, whatever. It's insane. It's about believing in yourself, which is a cool topic also. This is my wife. Just one second. 32 Metudela. With a text, Metudela. And it's perfect. I only just started learning and there's a lot of new faces here, and then we'll have our time. Okay. And check out. And it's the second floor up there.
You're on acres or you're one?
Okay.
What? Cool.
Yeah, Time. So, by the way, making l'chaim doesn't have to be an alcohol. L'chaim could be. For a couple of years, I made l'chaims on cookies. You can make l'chaim on cookies.
What type of cookies?
That's it. Chocolate chip. Nothing. Okay. Okay, so let's get back into learning mode. Put your imagination hats on. Let's travel. Let's go. Let's go somewhere deep.
Rabbi, how are you with the temperature? You good with the temperature?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So, burnout. Burnout is the way I experienced it. And again, there's only so much that goes across the boundaries to another person and their experience. But there is at least some that is similar, that is shared. The way I experienced it was being overly in the mode of doing and not enough in the mode of being. Too much, too action focused and not enough being. What does it mean being? Just sitting there? To me, being means doing the things that you love to do and really loving it. Onek. According to Kabbalah, there's two types of will. And in Chabad Hasidus, you could also find this. I think it's in Torah or in Parshas Noach. I think that's what he's speaking about. that there's Ratzon, and he talks about a few flavors, Ratzon Elyon and Ratzon Tachton. There's a higher will and a lower will. The Ratzon Tachton, the lower will, is something that comes from something that you understand. You understand that you have a certain budget, and therefore you search for an apartment that fits that budget, right? So you want something that is this, Ratzon Elyon is something else entirely. It's like a favorite color. Why? Why do you love that color? Ratzon Elyon, was that? Yeah, exactly. That was actually the first word I ever said, was the word pretty. Yeah, happens to be. I know. L'chaim, somewhere we're all still cute. L'chaim. So a favorite color, an instrument, a certain kind of connection to nature. Some people need water. If you're a person who needs water, then you go to the water. Some people need forest. Some people need desert. One thing that I don't even think we even think of.
Like connect, like with God, like that kind of thing?
Before that, to
So
enjoy
I
it.
need a forest.
Oh no, because you enjoy it.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Like
Nothing.
going to the beach, like makes people happy?
Yes.
Like that kind of thing?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Not everybody. And which beach and so on. But yeah. Before anything religious, really. Just the things that you like to do. You're onik. Because the reason behind Ratzon Elyon is onik. And that actually is Keter in Kabbalah, the crown that sits on our heads, our royalty. We are royal. We are pieces of Hashem. To get back in touch with our royalty, we have to find, and sometimes this can be sometimes excruciating, but blessing us al Chaim, first of all, is that we should find remember what it is that we love to do and do it. It's so silly. Kids, of course, they don't stop doing the things they love doing. We adults, if I can call myself that yet, we adults, we what's it called? We get out of touch with what we love to do. And you have to remember what you love doing. Do you love getting to the top of a mountain? Yeah, I'm using nature things. It doesn't have to be only that. Do you love drawing? Do you love comics? What do you love? Music. Fine. And when's the last time that you listened to your favorite band? Maybe you have to do that. And again, I'm not telling you this as a rabbi. I'm telling you this as believe it or not, a person. This is the ailment of having too long a beard. Is you lose anyway.
I love Tom.
Yes. I don't think I have to remind you. We should all eat cholent the way Moshe eats cholent. We just need to find those things that we love to do and do it. And amazingly, this actually gets us back in touch with our royal self, with the crown, with Mamish. Keter is built out of three things. Ratzon Elyon, your higher will. Onek, what delights you, the delight of your soul. The delight of your soul in existing. Of course, Hashem is part of that, but it's not like a religious thing. It's just who you are. And then Emunah, which is also it's very quiet. It's a tasteless like the matzah. It's something very subtle, but it's everything. There's an inner, there's a quiet of your soul after you've done what you like to do and enjoyed it, right? Hashem even when He creates the world says Vayar Elokim. It's as a shir out of it, and it says it's tov. What is that pasuk about? Who cares? Leave because it's private. That's Hashem, But it's teaching us something. Look at the things you do, and I did it. Whatever it is. If it's going to the ocean, if it's going to the desert, and one thing that we're very missing, by the way, that we might not even realize we're missing because we never see it. Just by the way, is the sky at night. and I really want to make a trip. Maybe we'll arrange it as a chevra to just go and to somewhere deep in the desert where there's no lights. Yeah, I need to go. I don't know when's the last time I actually saw the sky at night. This is one of the crazy things of technology. We don't even know what we're missing. It's probably, I'm sure it's so good to just see it. It's there. And they're all singing, like, they're all singing. So burnout requires, first of all, returning to the royal self, to the royal soul. Remembering
I have a good aura.
About it.
He said we're talking about burnout. So
Hey.
we burn in, burn out, burn out.
Beautiful. That's it. No, really, it's not stam that it's called burnout. That's the Gaval Chazal. Chazal in a few places in Shas, they take non-Hebrew languages and learn things from. It's called burnout. That's it. We're too focused on that side, on some kind of task. Yeah.
So I run into this a lot when I talk to like my single friends and even myself.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're so worried that if we're enjoying life too much as a single person,
Right.
we're going to forget about looking for that other partner. Like we're just gonna like enjoy singledom, and it does happen to people. So like, how do you deal with that?
Right.
balance?
Right. Right. First of all, like, it sounds to me. What's your name? Natalie Leibish. Nice to meet you. First of all, it sounds to me. Again, trying to think if I've met anyone who enjoys being single so much that they mamish forget the day.
It's not a matter of
It's
enjoying
a-
being single.
Yeah.
It's you're living life, and like you kind of time goes by. You know, you're 24, you're 34, you're 44.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
time goes by because like okay, life goes on. You're enjoying life, but like where's your focus supposed to be?
The question is, I think I hear, the question is, are you enjoying or are you building some kind of career or amassing wealth or
But
something?
that could also be enjoying.
Right. 100%.
Yeah,
Or maybe you're just comfortable.
Right. Okay. Comfortable, I hear better. By the way, part of my goal tonight is to learn, because I need to learn from you guys, because I'm already noticing, especially in terms of social media, but other ways also. As a 44-year-old human, I'm a bit detached from what's going on, like where people are really actually at, and I have to really. So first of all, it need definitely, in other words, Lubavitcher Rebbe said like this. He said, a half shekel in the Torah. The Torah goes out of its way to tell you how many geiras there are in a shekel. It's pasuk, it's chumash, it's esrim geira hashekel. Very strange thing that the Torah would need to tell you that. It could have been oral Torah. If we needed to know the amount of silver. I mean, it does have certain applications in terms of pidyon habet, etc. But esrim geira hashekel, the Lubavitcher Rebbe says it's to teach you that a half shekel is 10. Was that?
Can we get rid of that?
Yeah. I got to get past the board. Right. So, in other words, the shekel, the full shekel being 20 means that the half shekel is 10, right? So that's really holding both of these things. It's 10, but it's a half.
Sorry, I missed that last part.
The shekel being 20, geira is like agurot.
Okay.
So the shekel being made of 20 smaller coins means that the half shekel is made of 10. And 10 is a number of shlemut because it goes back to the 1, etc. So a half shekel being 10 is really holding those two energies that we're talking about, right? It's shalem, it's 10, but it's also a half.
Yeah.
So definitely, yeah, I hear that. It can become comfortable. It can, I have what I know what I have. You know, somebody else is like mystery is messing with my Seder, is messing with
It's not that. It's I know singles that either wait to live life until they're married, and other singles that are like, amassing their wealth, creating that career, building their home, building their life, and then forget about the partner also. So it's not even a matter of forgetting about the partner, but like their focus isn't on. It's basically, I guess, the question of hishtadlut versus living your life.
It's relay. I hear that. Well, hishtadlut is more in terms of okay versus living your life as opposed to bitachon. Got it, right? Yeah.
Meaning you're saying that people get caught up in like going to work and going on
Just living life. Like I'm not gonna wait until this guy shows up or this woman shows up or whatever it is, this partner thing, person entity shows up, right? Like I'm just gonna do my thing. If he comes or she comes or it comes, great.
Choose your pronoun.
Exactly. No, meaning like if it comes,
It's being very politically correct.
I know that I enjoy my life everything. Like what you said.
No, but that's the whole point.
It's healthy, but it's not healthy because time goes by and then you're still single.
Right, but what I said before about burnout happens not just in dating, in a career, in business growth, because you become too other-oriented and you stop being self-reflective. So all you are is all the time trying to impress people, be someone you're not, and things don't work out, you take it personally wrong. You're not being you, or there's a problem with the person, or they weren't ready. So that's the problem. You become so other-oriented, you get burnt out. Forget who you are. And that's why it's important to build a career, do all the things you want to do, and buy an apartment, and buy in Jerusalem, not wait, oh my God, where's my wife going to want to, and then there, I should buy in Jerusalem type of thing. Because you have to do what you want to do, and these are things that work out. You have to retain your own self-identity, your own identity. If you become so other-oriented, then you burn out, you forget who you are, you're trying to be someone else.
Right. This is so much of this is about a very elusive quality called authenticity.
Right.
You know.
Oh. That was his whole thing.
Yeah, we meet him. Now I'm waving out of appreciation. I love Simcha Punim Pshiska.
That was the school.
The beauty of Pshisk is that all of his Talmidim were so different from each other. That's a sign of a real teacher, of a real Rebbe. So in other words, I believe, tell me if you agree with me, I believe that if you're truly finding the oneg within and doing these things and augmenting your light, like really being in a place where you're in touch with what you love, in the world, in whatever way, if it's expressive, if it's environment, if it's like where you go, if it's a thing that you do, if it has to do with people in the world, if it has to do with some form of chesed, whatever it is. But when that's really happening, and your crown is on, so to speak, it's made of your higher will and your delight. To remember there's such a thing as delight. Really your delight, and your emunah, and that place that is the real emunah, that is a very still small voice, a real kol dmama daka. Then I believe that in that place can hold this let's say paradox, or these two energies. And on one hand, I'm 10, I'm doing my thing, and I'm happy with myself, and I don't need anything. On the other hand, I need my soulmate, and you have both. The authenticity will tick in, and in some way, and again, this needs so much prayer and so much. We need friends to talk it over with, and et cetera, to figure out, like when am I going a little too far with the career, or with the money, or getting a little too comfortable. When am I a little bit numbing out from my authenticity? And then this is like a kind of a thing that there's no pat answer for exactly. It's like it comes from a lot of doubting and interacting and self-reflection and making sure that you I remember when I was in yeshiva, I'm Bal Tshuva, sociologically Bal Tshuva, and when I remember in my day, Bal Tshuva yeshivas were all very full. Nowadays, it's not quite so. And I remember hearing about someone who wrote a poem about his guitar on the wall. I've been learning the Torah and doing my thing, and my guitar sits silently on the wall. Sometimes it could be religion, it could be career, it could, whatever it is. Sometimes if there's if your guitar's on the wall, it's calling you. Find it, and somehow when we go there, whatever your guitar is, it's going to help you find your royalty, your dignity. It's something that I feel like the part of the thing of burnout, and I'm still not all the way out of my burnout. That is you lose your dignity. You become just this. In philosophy, they call it. You become like an instrument. You're just and in yeshiva they call it a hechetimtza. You're just to get from point A to point B. Like you're a money maker, or you're a PhD writer, or you get defined by the things you do, which is something that society does. They tell you who are you? You say, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer. Which is in a certain way a travesty to say such words. I am an infinite royal soul, a being, a divine light, who I really am. And we identify, so again, this is the first Nakuda in terms of Melech Cheshbon, killing that king of Cheshbon to get to Eretz Yisrael. That Rebbe Nachman is saying it's nidme. It feels like we're carrying this unbearable burden. But when we realize, he says that a person only actually has, part of this is about getting out of the dream world, the fantasy world, and getting to reality, the authenticity of who I really am, of what I really love to do. And of what I actually am in control of right now is only right now. It's all we actually have. And the feeling of this huge burden, which is natural that it will feel that way, and it makes sense, and it's acknowledged, and we're all feeling it's okay. But to try to move towards the reality of each day of Hayom. Of this reality of Hayom in B'Kolo Tishmo. Right? And one of the things he says at the end is that Ki Yom Macharat to Yom Acher L'Gamrei, Bum Olam Acher L'Gamrei. Tomorrow is actually a completely different world. This is something that Rebbe Nachman Zal, the Yartzeit last week, his student, Rebbe Nachman says in the Likutei Halachos that when the Arizal explains what does it mean, what we say in the Siddur, that Hashem is with His goodness, renewing creation every day, is not that it's the same world, just being, Hashem just presses play again and again and again on the same world, but that it actually is a new world. That's an amazing thing. That's what Kabbalah says, and this is what our soul knows. Our soul knows this. Kids know this. This is, wonder, the sense of wonder, the sense of newness.
Oh. It's like I was still talking about the burnout thing. So I think maybe for every person it means something else. I'm saying for me specifically, yeah. I think that it's like burnout is like the lack of trust. You're being like, people set a picture in your head. So like, let's say when you start dating, you're like, whoa, you're flying with that. You know what I'm saying? And you just go and then like not like that. So then you do it again and again. And like at some point, you just like lose hope and you lose trust in people. They sell me this whole thing, and like probably almost none of it's true. So at some point, you know what I'm saying, you just burn out, you don't trust people. But I think that everyone, technically speaking, if it was true, and the things that, you know what I'm saying, when you're going out was the type of things that were true, and it's really something that you're trying to, you know, look forward to, then you wouldn't necessarily burn out. I'm saying you're not burnt out. You're just looking for something that people just keep telling you that that's that
Could I
thing.
rephrase that?
Yeah.
Every single time you get read shit up, you should think about it as a tour book. The hotel looks amazing in the picture, and it's never the hotel. When you get there, but it still has all the features.
It's got all those features. Oh, you're right. You couldn't say that. You couldn't call it that. This is the jacuzzi. I'm gonna put it.
They're not lying to you. It's just sell to you a little bit different.
We live in a world right now that has manufactured. Trevor, 1 second. Trevor, let's listen to each other. This is good. This is very good. This is excellent.
We live in a world right now that's manufactured its own quote-unquote shit-up crisis, which has forced a lot of us to go and be like things that we aren't. You know, how many times have we been trying to fit into this box or this cookie cutter situation? You know, we keep trying to fit into these labels sometimes just because it's not necessarily what we want to do, but because, you know, there's a whole economy out there just on marketing this whole shit-up crisis balagan that has no basis, that sometimes it feels. You know, they keep telling us to be things that we aren't. So when we do find that authenticity, and I've experienced this, I felt like I just put myself in an authentic manner. I put myself out in a way that was very unique. And you know what I got because of that? Just shot down time again. You know, I used to pay for a certain service, which I'm sure a lot of us have tried one way or another. You know, insert service here. And just like, I'm not paying to get rejected time and time again. That's where my burnout comes from, because I keep putting myself out there and the world keeps shutting me down.
That's because they're not your shares and not your time yet.
How does that feel? Nobody's your share. Like after how many years you
Please.
Basically, how do you differentiate between like your Shabbos and just like what Hashem is like in Hashem?
Oh, thank you.
L'chaim.
This is going to do a double shot.
Yeah. Listen. It sounds like what you're asking. Tell me if I'm phrasing this right. Like, how do I know if it's because I didn't try hard enough, or if it's because Hashem is just saying to wait more?
Or because you're trying too hard.
Or you're trying too
You're not
hard.
focusing on other areas.
So, I don't know. First of all, Chaim. I wish I knew, but I think that first of all, the degree to which we're all being pushed, and it's not only within the dating world, it's within almost everything. The degree to which we're being pushed to find this kind of authenticity in an inner way through this labyrinth of our own minds that are so scary, and not scary is the word, confusing, whatever the word is. We're being forced to do something new, I believe. And if we were to take a group of whatever we are, 25 to 45-year-olds or whatever it is, and 100 years ago, 50 years ago, would they even understand what we're talking about? Like, it's really amazing, you know. And we can't turn to. This is part of my challenge as trying to be a Torah teacher in the world. Like, first of all, I have to be okay with not having answers, which I am Baruch Hashem. That's not such an issue for me. But you don't have people you can turn to so much, you know. That's part of, to me, like, it's just something I'm just noticing. Like, it's okay. I think it's part of the, maybe helpful to just say that. Like, it's, in other words, there's a big generational gap. People aren't understanding. I say, call it a crisis, you know, like you were saying, like, and okay, so now we've got organizations, and I don't know what hotlines, or I don't know whatever they do, but they're using old vessels for new light that needs new vessels in some kind of. What's that?
I said you need to change the light bulb.
They change the light bulb, yeah, mamish.
We change the whole circuitry.
It's a, yeah.
Rewiring.
Should I respond to that?
Yeah, please, yeah.
So the reason why I said thank you before is because I recently had a conversation with the same question in regards to Parnassa. Kind of like, where do you draw the line of saying this is the job I need to do, and this is how much I'm supposed to spend in business, and how much time I'm supposed to spend with life and with work and learning and all that. Where's the barrier me to go? And the response I got was that you have to be a clay keyboard. You have to be able to have a vessel to accept it. And then Hashem's job is to fill the vessel. So if you have a job, so then he can send you money through the job. If you just say, okay, I'm going to sit on the couch, hey, send me what I need, it doesn't get you anywhere. Because you haven't left, he has no problem sending it, but you haven't left him a pathway to get it to your bank account to fill. So I would like to say that in Shidduchim it's the same way. Yes, Shidduchim is all about timing. I promise you, it's absolute timing. And no matter what you're going to do, it's still going to be timing.
That's what Hashem.
I mean,
we can't control that.
right, but we still need to be a clay keyboard. We have to be that vessel that are we open to really taking someone into our life? Are we, would we marry ourselves?
No.
Okay, so there's the work.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Too much personality.
So are we that? In response to that, I would say that would be one main point, and the other main point would be that, actually two more. The other one is, no matter what you're doing, who the hell are you to think you give God a schedule? I people call me up going, I did this, I did that, I davened there, I went there, I'm such a good boy, I'm such a good girl. And, no, I was just saying.
No, can you repeat that? I missed it.
I said, who the hell are you to think you can give God a schedule?
Are you from New York?
Yeah, but tapas at the end of the day, like, what about people that don't get married? There are people that don't get married. So, like, there is a level
The
of...
fact is that when you were pushed down into this world, you were given someone. No one was supposed to be pushed down this world without a man. So, yeah.
That's what the House Rabbi
So there's like a
What? What is it?
The House Rabbi said there might have been someone 10 years ago who said that.
Exactly. So what do
Yeah.
you do in that
Realistic
situation?
House Rabbi.
So then that comes to the last point that I wanted to make is that if you find yourself stuck up against the wall and you think that you are that clay keyboard and you're ready to go and something's holding you back, then change one thing. I mean, obviously for the better. I'm trying to change for society.
Also,
Yeah,
What I just mentioned a second ago.
a lot of it is hindsight. Like you might think that like, oh, now I'm ready, 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 but like you're never gonna actually know if you're ready. Or
No
not.
one's asking if you're ready. Are you
But the
You
the
all
best
should be
thing that
asking
you
if
Are
can
you're
you
ready.
allowing yourself?
the best thing that you can do is to improve yourself and to be the best
Right,
version
that's
of
what I'm saying.
yourself. So you're ready, but like you don't actually know.
No one's saying it. So then what you're saying is what I've been trying to say.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
Try to be the better version of yourself and continue working on yourself to be a better version of yourself. In that action, somewhere along the ways, maybe that was what was the one thing that needed to be opened up to allow that person in. And maybe there's a stalling because there's one little meter that had to be worked on. To be able to open up that shefa.
They said there's different different levels also.
Different what?
Like you can have a different push. They said.
There's a difference between a zero and a share.
So as you grow, you have a
Shared that matches that growth.
Okay.
It's not yours either.
Okay, while we're on topic about Sharon,
Is that your?
it's something that I've encountered lately.
No, it seems so.
You know, I think I'm on the younger side of this room, and yet I still have multiple friends that are divorced, or like, and I know a lot more friends that have gone through broken engagements at this point. Like it's almost like, you know, what's
Broken engagement circle will be taking place at 10:30.
But like it's, I mean, like, is there really this concept of Bashar that, like, as like we think in our mind of like, oh, this one person was supposed to be married, like what happened to the, you know, X amount of people? And I'm pretty sure we all know there's a lot of people at this point that, you know, just the divorce train seems to keep on, you know, going and going.
So what are the statistics of this? You guys should read the book that just came out by Rabbi Shafir. He like writes the Shmooze or something. He just came out with a book that was published in 2021 called 10 Dumb Mistakes Smart Couples Make. Highly recommended. Even if people that aren't married yet, which is this whole one, please read it. It's so good and it really teaches you a lot of information. Yeah.
One more point is I don't want to repeat what Sivan Rav Meir says all the time.
Who?
That Sivan Rav, we live in a very complex generation, even though we may not be aware of it. Social media, websites, and there's this illusion of unlimited choice. There's the famous comment that Moshe Feinstein would never have married his wife had there been dating websites. He was like 3 foot shorter than them. Like nothing was matched up. And in the old days, if you married the person in your shtetl, you never got married. But nowadays, you can sit on a website on Facebook and you see 100 girls in New York, 50 girls in London, you know, 5 in Belgium, and think, oh, I'm going to one in Moscow. And you're meeting someone, but the chance of you meeting them is pretty minimal. So I think we have to be self-aware of the complex generation we're living in. And there's this false concept of unlimited choice, which doesn't really reflect the reality.
Yeah, everything is disposable in our generation, so why not get a new wife? It's not working out.
Well,
I think that's also the issue with having smartphones and iPhones. Like, if Siri and Alexa can give me everything with the touch of a button or just asking, like, why can't my spouse do that for me? And it causes a lot of conflict. It causes a lot of issues.
This is great. No. First of all, I'm loving it. I'll tell you. I'm looking at just. First of all, I want to emphasize one more time how special it is that this get-together is happening. I don't know how many get-togethers like this have you been to. I think this is very special. I need to quite thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for making this happen.
I'm like very again. As much as everyone's process is so hard, I'm really inspired and filled with hope seeing your faces and meeting you. It's really this is our generation, and you know, Hashem should hear our cry. Hashem should hear our cry. This is tefillah b'tzibur. Everything I just have in mind, every comment you say, every thought you have in mind. It's a prayer also. You can do that. It could be horizontal and vertical at the same time, and you can do that. So I'm going to tell you a word that I saw. This is from Rabbi Dr. Not Abraham, Isidore Tversky. You may have heard of him. He was a Talmud Rebbe. He's the head of Judaic Studies at Harvard, and he's my example of a Hasidic academic. He's the only example that I found of a Chasidemic. So all the Chasidemics, which is basically, he's dead, and Zatzal, I'm saying. But any case, I don't know how many there are. There are actually more and more. Nowadays there are more and more. In any case, he noticed a very nice subtlety in the Torah, which relates a lot to what you guys are talking about, a Kli, and this whole quest for authenticity. He noticed a very, very powerful subtlety in the words of the Chumash, which is that every time that the Torah says, don't don't do work, lo ta'aseh malacha, about Shabbos. So Shabbos is called regular, it's called Shabbos. Every time, I think there's twice, where the Torah calls malacha says, lo ta'aseh, malacha shall not be done. In both of those places, Shabbos is called Shabbaton. Which Rashi says, what does that mean? Shabbaton with regards to Shabbos and not Yontif. What does Shabbaton mean as opposed to Shabbos? Rashi says, Menuchat Margoa. A rest that is like, as opposed to a Menuchat Arai. A rest that is total relaxation as opposed to just kind of a temporary rest. They're like a coffee break Shabbos, but a real Shabbos, right? And so he says, when Malacha is referred to as something active, then Shabbos is just called Shabbos. But when Malacha is referred to as something that is Te'aseh, which is done through you, then it's called Shabbaton, which is the Menuchat Margoa, this depth of Keva, of Menucha that's like really set and deep and forever. So what being able, and again, this is this crazy dance that I wish I knew how to do, of being that vessel, having Hashem work through me. I think that's where the authenticity is. When we're really in our oneg and in our emunah and our ratzon elyon, when our crowns are really on. So of course Hashem is working through us. It's like a musician or an artist that like, it's me, but it's also the painting needed to be painted. Like it's there's a certain transparency to the source, capital S. Like it's there. It's in that nature hike. It's in going to the ocean. It's in the stars. It's in whatever your thing is. The guitar on the wall. Whatever your thing is that you must remember and do. So then, it's there. The Hashem kind of there's that amazing the hishtadlus, the thing. There's that somehow we're able to do that that thing of holding both energies, of being 10, of being a half. And I'll just share with you something personal that my wife, hopefully you'll meet her soon, she called attention to it when we were dating. She said, "Do you notice how peaceful it is?" Actually, I hadn't noticed. She wasn't the picture that I had. Didn't have the color hair was different. A bunch of things were different. She wasn't what I thought. But the peacefulness was there. And to me, what that meant was being able to be myself. Really being able to be myself. Which to me, that's just something that, I don't know if it's any kind of wisdom to look for, as opposed to some kind of sense of attraction or fireworks or whatever. There's a smaller, more subtle sense that I didn't even notice until she brought it to my attention, which is a certain peacefulness that, oh, I'm really myself with this person, and it's possible that there's someone you already know that you're really yourself with. And again, this is another topic that's been overdone, but that nowadays we become friends, and sometimes that you lose the chance for dating because of that.
Infatuation, you're saying?
I'm saying, as opposed to infatuation, there's a place where you're just able to be yourself. That's incredibly valuable. And if you notice it and how peaceful it is, I'm really being myself. It might be the person to marry, and again, this is, I don't want to be too specific with my advice because it feels chutzpah, but anyways, that was something that, and also, just by the way, in Tanakh, in Rus, in Megillas Rus, the word menucha is used twice for soulmate. So that's one place you were asking about Beshert. I'm nowhere near the kind of Kabbalist. I'm reading to you, I'm saying words as if I know it. I don't know about Zivug and Darkas and this. I have no idea. Some of that is really like that. I have no idea. But I do know that in Tanakh, the word menucha is used for soulmate. That when Nomi tells that you'll find metzena menucha. You shall find menucha. That means a husband. I understood that also in terms of Shabbos, in terms of Hashem. That does it mean Hashem rested? One of these big questions like Shabbos is a day of being a meaningful relationship, and the world is missing menucha, missing meaningful relationship. Shabbos. Another thing, a personal thing, this is something actually, I believe that this works for me. If I may be so bold as to say, I'm Shemaim, they're laughing, but I believe that this works for me. Which is, I have a friend who was, I don't know, he was in his mid to late 30s, I forgot how old he was when he got married. And I was about 26, 20, I got married when I was 27. And I saw him get married. And I was so amazed that my friend Shachar got married at however old he was. He seemed to me to be like, you know, he'd been single for so long, he'd had like 2 or 3 broken engagements. He was like, it just seemed like what's going to be with this guy? I think so, yeah, at least 2. And I remember the first, anyway, one of them was, anyway.
Better to have loved and lost then.
Yeah. Mama, so I spent a good few hours, like at least, you know, maybe let's say 2 hours a week, talking to Hashem, which by the way, that's the biggest advice of Rebbe Nachman about anything, is he's supposed to do is to talk to Hashem in your own language. And I used my friend as a precedent. I said, you did it for him. And in my mind, it was a really good thing because he was a person I thought like, he's on that track that you were talking about. He's on that track of like, just building his own life as a single person. It's not going to be like in my mind, like I had given up on him. And I said, well, Hashem, you made him get married. If you can make him get married, and thank you for that, please let me get married. And I used that as a precedent. And the reason why I think that this helped me is because it helped me to believe that it could be, that it could be possible, that it could actually be possible. You know, that's part of the purpose of Shevach before Bakasha. The purpose of Shevach is to get to a place where you actually believe that your Bakasha might be answered. Shevach is praise. The sages are telling us that you should praise Hashem before asking. And the purpose of praise, as Rebbe Nachman of Breslove explains, the purpose of praise is to be able to upgrade, I'm putting in my words, to be able to upgrade from complaint to request. It's a very strong thing. You know, we may be praying, but are we complaining or are we actually asking? To really ask needs to be that I actually think maybe, you know, I don't have God's clock, but maybe, like maybe, yeah, like it's that, and that to believe that it could be, we need to have precedence. And if you think about it, there may be someone in your life that you know that it really seemed like this person's never going to get married, and then unbelievably, there they are under the chuppah, and it's actually happening. I have an old friend of mine, Ami Mordechai, got married. You know, Ami is good love. Ami. What was going to be with Ami? I really like, you know, when he called me his engaged, I was like, we have to use these things. It's spiritual ammunition. I believe it really is. Like, not because of what it does, without being, it's because of what it does for us. To really praise Hashem, look, you did this. You did this for him. You did it so amazing. You got him to the chuppah. Please bring me also. So it's not just a lone voice in the night that's like just getting worse and worse and worse as time goes by, but it becomes a request. That was something that I feel that really. I feel like that was one of the times in my life I really prayed, using their precedent. I feel like I actually prayed. I wish I could say that about this morning's shachris. but those few months, I really believe I don't know how Hashem is, if I met Dina because of him or because of those prayers. I don't know how it works up there. But I pray, like, and using the precedent was a big vessel for me. I think I've exhausted my notes. Any more? Yeah.
So Rebbe was saying before that a person should focus on the present moment, present day. How does that fit with future planning?
Oh, that's a good question. Right. I was just talking about that with someone today. I think the difference is, and again, didn't bring the Chazal, but the Chazal had this concept called do'eg l'machar. You should not be somebody who's worried about tomorrow. So there's a big difference between planning and being worried, right?
Planning and what?
And being worried. There's a big difference between planning and being worried. Like putting effort into dating, as opposed to worrying about it, right? And again, this is more easy for me to say, but there's a big difference between the two. And Einstein, he said, worrying is like making a sandwich to solve a physics problem. Like, in other words, worrying is not helpful, usually. You know, when you're in some emergency and you have to worry about who might be left in the burning building, fine. So the worry might trigger to remember something, remember someone, or whatever. But usually, in terms of what we're talking about, so living for the moment doesn't mean, having no sense of planning. Part of the way that I live in the moment is being aware that tomorrow there's going to be another moment, and the next, and a week from now, it's just getting the worry out of it. That's how I understand it. It's getting the worry out, and getting instead and getting the worry out means getting the dibayon, getting the in other words, a lot of what this dibayon is a huge theme in the Kutim around imagination and how you use your imagination. And imagination is not a bad thing, but to use the imagination to look for opportunities and then plan for them and implement them, and not use the imagination for oi and they and worst case scenarios. It's so easy to go. We're making thank God of our mitzvah, like. And so my wife, I can't believe this happened. It's crazy. Chaim, yes. Chaim.
Your first?
Yes.
Wow.
To be able to navigate raising my son in this world of very and I involved. Chaim.
And if I could just say, the Rob is making a beautiful music CD with his son in honor of the bar mitzvah. So if you want to donate towards the GoFundMe, I can send you the link after the share. Yeah,
it's good music.
A good bar mitzvah gift.
Everyone should come to bar mitzvah. It's Rosh Hashanah. Send it out to everyone. Everyone should just come. It's going to be fun. But why did I bring this in?
While you were planning the bar mitzvah.
Yeah, that.
Party flying drums.
Yeah. No, but there was a specific.
Now.
Worry versus planning. Right. Yeah, I'm not remembering. I had some specific, but the concept of it's not coming back to my mind, but it's okay. Any other questions? Maybe we'll come back later.
Rabbi, Do you think Shmona Esrei Chuppah is still good advice for today's world?
Oh wow.
What is that?
18 to
The Pirkei Avos says 18 to the.
18.
I don't know. I can tell you a good.
That's in high school when I was 18.
That Mishnah, right. Yeah, no, that Mishnah. You ask, you really mean the question, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Inflation.
I think what it brings up for us right now is an important thing, which is teenagehood. I've been reading. Since Corona, we've been doing a lot of homeschooling in my house. We're very turned off of Zoom, and it's an incredibly gigantic effort to do that, and really swimming against the stream, etc. One of the things I've been reading a lot of very powerful non-Jewish books about homeschooling, very powerful. And one of the most powerful things I encountered was that, teenagehood, this whole thing of pursuing leisure, this very non-meaningful rebellion of
Very well said.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. This whole stage. Oh, that might be my wife. Sorry. No.
I like that. That's the sound for her.
Yeah, no, it's the
Happy
same.
wife, happy life.
Yeah, I wish. It's the same one. Say, I wish I had both. Okay. We have to wish. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, she's happy enough if I'm both concerned.
Giggles and everything.
It's good. Well, life is life, life is life. Nothing is, there's no, I came here to pretend like everything's perfect. In any case, where were we? Too many L'chaim. Rebellious, yeah, teenagehood. No, because 18, in other words, I'm using it to a certain extent to launch into a different thing, but it used to be that you went into teenagehood and your family needed you to be a breadwinner. That's it. Life became very serious. There's a book called Little Britches. Anyone read that book? It's not such an exciting book, but it's a very sweet and powerful book. It's about a kid growing up in America in the early 1800s, I think is the year. As they're kind of expanding out west, and he's with his dad who builds a house, and then they have to move, and etc. And it's about coming of age. The kid's 11, 12. It's written from the perspective of an 11, 12-year-old. It's very, very powerful, and he learns how to ride a horse and how to shoot a gun. But it's strong stuff. It's real life. Was that? Yeah. So there used to be, a need. We're so, as much as etc. We could always have more, but we really do have quite a bit. Just running water and electricity and clothes and food. We really have a lot, and this to a certain extent it compounds the issue, as I was talking about before. It forces us even more and more deeply, because we have so much time on our hands, into the world of the cheshbon, into the world of all the possibilities and what might be. And we talk about possibilities. You don't go online and could it be this, could be that. I'm getting back to the 18 thing in a second, but I saw from Rav what's his name, from Chabad in Minnesota, Rav Manis Friedman. He's got some good books. He's a voice of sanity. He's a bit harsh, but he's in any case, and again, he's from an older generation, but he talks about the train. The train was first invented, and he said that used to be you're in a town, your father is a blacksmith, in his stomach you're going to be a blacksmith. Your life is like pretty much already. Once there's a train, suddenly you can go somewhere else. You can go here, you can go there, in a jiffy, and and what's it called, and he says that's why, I don't know if this is true etymologically. He says that's why the word locomotor is related to the word crazy, loco, to be like loco, like in Spanish they say loco, you're nuts, because people lost the sense of their life trajectory. Who am I? What am I doing? Well, I could be this, could be this, could be this, could be this, could be, and it's overwhelming, and you lose your sense of who you could be. That struck me. So, the beauty of Ben Shmona Esrei L'Chuppah is that you find someone who basically is compatible, and you figure things out together. You figure things out together from the start, from such an age, and hopefully have a sense of seriousness and a sense of self-sacrifice and of urgency in life. That there's what to do. But for most of us, that's really especially for us in this room, it's not a it's just the days when we were 18, we were teenagers. It's a society created this, and in a crazy way. I mean, some of the books that I've read are very, almost not Marxist, but they're intensely pointing the finger at certain companies and focuses and wealthy interest groups that created the teenager and profit off the teenager. And who are we in our 30s and 40s? Are we still, in some sense, teenagers? Something for us to really think about. Is leisure a goal? Is entertainment a goal? These are really, really serious things to think. And why? And who told me that? Who took away my stars in the sky and replaced them with some actor or musician who I have no idea who they are? They're my star, I'm saying, like, there are stars in the sky, and who knows what I haven't even seen them. Maybe ever. I don't think I've ever seen the full starry sky. I don't think I've ever seen. I'm dying to get to them. Yeah. Crispin also you can see?
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Amazing.
I was there in 2014 for the summer during Operation Protective Edge, and it was immaculate.
Wow.
Where's Crispin?
It's right up north. It's in Golan Heights.
Amazing.
40 minutes from Tiberi.
I know someone who lives there actually. Gaval. So, to really see this, I have a friend of mine who was describing spending a night in the Amazon.
Wow.
And he said there were pink clouds of stars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why don't we see them? We need them. We really do. Anyway. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. I mean, I'm saying, like, we literally, we're literally, we're plugging ourselves up in these little worlds we don't see, we don't experience. It's there's so much more. There's so much more than what's plugging up our field of vision. The Baal Shem Tov one time took someone up onto a mountain, and he said, "Put your hand over your eyes." He said, "What do you see?" He said, "Nothing." Not take them off. He said, "Now," he says, "I see the whole." He says, "You see what one tefach can do?" So you have, these Baal Shem Tov moments, like a halavai, like a halavai. It's something to pray for. It's something to pray for. Yeah.
I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
We were talking about this earlier, and someone else, and he was giving advice. I wonder what you think is the main thing to look for in a partner. Like, what's the number one quality that's most important?
Good question.
Good question. Like again, to me, the number one thing is what I said before is this menucha, this place that I can be myself with this person, even if they're not who you thought they would be, kind of. You can have a list. Like I sort of had a kind of a list, and my wife is very different in many ways from the list.
So why'd you date her?
You don't open-minded.
No, obviously, but I'm saying like.
It wasn't that different. She wasn't
fine.
so
Okay.
different. It was enough, but like it
I'm
was.
saying that's something that you see in yourself, because if I'm talking about something that is a quality trait of hers.
Right, it's not a quality trait. So I think if you ask me, and again, this is my personal answer, I don't know that there's an answer to this question. But I think kindness is the most important thing. The Yiddishkeit starts with Avraham Avinu, like chesed, somebody who, you definitely want somebody who can get out there. She is. Hi. Yeah, come up. I'm just finished. We're just doing a little more schmoozing, but I'm here. I'm almost done. Oh, yeah. So you want me to just come down in a few minutes? Oh, so I'll pass it to Ellie, and you can describe it there. I can just come down. I can totally just come down. Okay.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah, no, you committed to her, so I'm gonna just come down in a very few minutes. Okay. She went like around the back, I think. Yeah. Yes, I think kindness, in other words, because it's yeah.
So about the burnout.
Yeah.
What was the solution to?
For me? Yeah.
Sure.
For dating? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I didn't say just one thing. A few things. I mean, first of all, like I said, basically, kind of 5 things. I can sum them up. I thought there's not too many things. One of them is to kill the king of Cheshbon, and that means to really. And again, this is a description. It's not a how-to, and I'll get to the how-to in a minute. But I'm too much thinking about why am I burning out? Because I'm too outwardly I'm like too outwardly focused on finding someone. I'm too and the rejection again and again. I'm too focused on how I'm experiencing the outside. And so, when the truth is, all I really have anyway is this moment right now. And so, how do I actually kill the Melech of Cheshbon? Is this description of oneg, finding the things that you love to do, remembering the guitar on the wall, and picking it up and strumming it, whatever that is for you, going to the water, whatever it is, doing the things you love to do. Getting in touch with your higher will. That anyway is going to connect you to your soul, because you want somebody who is going to resonate with that higher will and wants.
You should marry somebody that likes the beach.
No, it doesn't necessarily mean. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It might. But it might. But the thing is, it's a resonance. It's a resonance with a higher expression of who you are. Like when the things that we want are only because of our understanding, when we're living only in Ratzon Tachton, then it doesn't send out homing signals as well, I don't think, to the soulmate who's out there. because you're only doing things because of a reason. Like it's good. We have to do things because of reasons, but it's not as essential to who you are. The things essentially are the things you do for no reason. Things you do because of the beauty, because they're of the onek, because your soul delights in that. It could be anything.
Does watching Netflix count as that?
Yes.
It's kind of just soul numbing.
You said it.
We're trying to find a nectar. We're trying to find a nectar.
Listen. Relaxing the mind is fine. Just realize the difference between delight and just relaxing. It's okay to relax. Nobody's gonna. I'm not answering Netflix. What all I'm saying is that what I am telling you is you have a chiyuv to pick up the guitar on the wall. Do not forget that guitar, whatever that is for you. And I'm saying it to myself too. You must do the things you truly love to do. And that is your Ratzon Elyon, and that is your oneg, and somewhere in there is your emunah also. That's the 3 dimensions of your crown, and when your crown is on, the homing signals are stronger for whoever that person is. I believe that. I really do believe that. So that was like kind of more of like a how-to in terms of breaking the melech cheshbon. The melech cheshbon, all of the cheshbonot and the worry and the this, they fall away when you're doing your thing. When you're really doing it, when you're really doing it, all those stupid things are what's going to happen. I'm going to end up 70 years old all alone. All those things, they just pale away. They just fall away. You're doing your thing. Everything's okay. You're delighting. You're delighting. We must. As much as everything tells you you've got it, you've got Netflix will solve all your problems. It doesn't really do that. It doesn't bring you to your bliss. Go to your bliss. This is Hasidus. This is what Baal Shem Tov said. This is what older it. Go to your bliss. You know what it is, and you've been neglecting it. I'm telling myself this too. Go there. Pick up the saxophone. Whatever I play saxophone. Whatever your thing is, you must have to do. And that's, you're going to find your own, and you'll live more from your Ratzon Elyon. Okay. Number two, right? So is praying with precedence. To use a precedent. There are precedents. Hashem has done wonders for people that you know, who like really were lost cases and did get to the Chuvah.
But doesn't that get you into a place of comparison and jealousy?
Not jealousy. It's precedence. It's saying, Hashem, just like you did it for them, you can do it for me. And upgrading the complaint to a request. There's work there. There's a certain kind of perseverance that's there. There's a certain kind of appreciation. There's avodah. But I did that. And again, like I said, that was one of the times in my life I prayed. Like I know that I really prayed because I really said to Hashem, you did it for Shachar, you can do it for me. And it was.
Yeah, ask when the rabbi got married.
I was 27, so maybe that's not so old. But
Shachar.
He was older. I don't know, 33, 34. I don't know. And again, maybe that's not so old either. I don't know. But for me, again, it doesn't. The numbers should be less of an issue. It's the shevach. It's the praising Hashem for having done X for so and so person. And again, when you're really praying to Hashem, I don't think it'll be so dangerous to get into the jealousy place. When you're praying, you're saying, Hashem, you did this for my friend. It's amazing you did. It's like, please do it for me. And it's a different please than just without saying that, because please help me. It's the same please help me I said yesterday, and I don't believe it anymore. Faith is not just faith in God. It's faith that God hears my request.
It's not putting an around him.
No. This is a schus.
Like, they were such a loser. Oh my gosh. Like,
I don't think
what
so.
happened there? You know,
Like if they can do it, I can definitely live better.
Huh?
You're saying that God came through.
Right, but in a way, it's like, but they were like a lost cause, and I'm not a lost cause. So like, I think you forgot someone,
That could be your prayer.
Right, but I'm saying it's like an Ainhara. It's like.
Don't worry about it. It's not. You're not. In other
I
words,
guess it's a Sparty in me.
I hear you, right? But you use again, bliss. What's that?
No, I'm just thinking of what we're both saying, just stumbling to myself.
Okay, that's fine. Going to bliss, going to praise, going there is good. It's healthy. It's again. You want to focus on praising Hashem for having done this for so and so. Okay, so there's maybe some other thought of jealousy that's hiding under it. Fine, but I'm Hashem knows I'm trying to praise Hashem having done, and I'm trying to use this as a precedent, as a proof, so that I can upgrade from complaint to request. I'm really asking, because look at this. I mean, let's face it. It was such a hard thing. They were in such a dark place for so long, and disappointment after disappointment. And but you open the door, and they're there. They're okay. They have their challenges now, but at least they're together. It's incredible, And please send me my life partner. And so you using the precedent is an advice.
I think it's also the thing of Emunah. Like if you have 2 kids and like you give one of them a candy, and the other one's gonna like demand candy. So if you're talking to Hashem in that way, and your belief is that He did this thing, and you believe that He can really do it for you, and you're coming from a different angle. It's a whole different thing. It's like, this is possible. I believe it.
This is possible. Exactly.
It's not even.
Exactly. It's feeling that contrast. Feel the loneliness of your friend that you've known, that loneliness that they had, and go there, and say that Hashem, you really, there was an end after the forever. There's a day after forever. There is a day after forever, and I saw it with my own eyes. It happened, and so please open that up for me too, please. Open it up and pray for each other also.
You could say 3 if you want.
And right, so this right, killing the king of Cheshbon by through doing the things you love to do, find your oneg, your ratzon, your amudah. Prayer using precedence. Believing, and this is another thing about bliss, which is Shir Hashem Shir Chadash, believing that the world we're in today is not the same world as yesterday. If Hashem is going to give us such complexities on the inside, it means we're allowed to learn and understand and appreciate the depths of Kabbalistic insights that are helpful to us. And one of those is that the renewal of creation is actually a complete refabrication of all of however it works. All the divine names are in a different order every day and even every moment of every day. So that means that past rejections, past failures, past mistakes bear no proof for the future, because the future is actually a different world. Right? We have a right to relate to creation in a more complex way, because Hashem is forcing us into such inner confusions and complexities. So one of the things we have insight into is that it is actually literally a different world every day and even every second. So that means that past failures and past rejections do not prove that the future must contain them, because the future is a completely different seiruf, a whole different combination of divine energies. There's no proof from yesterday to today. That the mind wants to tell us that, and it does tell us that. And even though I know this Torah, it still tells me that, and I still fall because of it. But I'm telling you this from one friend to another, that this is true. And so that means that the openness to the next date, and that's very kind of practical thing. Who I am, who I was yesterday, what the world was yesterday is a completely different bria. It's olam acher, like Rebbe Nachman said. he said, Ki yom ha'macharat hu olam acher legamrei. Tomorrow is going to be a completely new world. Mamish a new world. Every day, every moment of every day. And then it's a different world. So there's no proof in terms of my actions or in terms of my rejections or in terms of my bad patterns, etc. There's no proof that it'll have to be that way tomorrow. The next world, we know this the complexities of nuclear understanding, etc. I'm no physicist, but we know that everything's all probability clouds, and like reality is like maybe my hand will go through the chair. Who knows? It's like this whole wild. We're really literally proving these crazy things about physical reality. That's because we're getting close, B'ezrat Hashem, soon to Hashem's constant recreation. So that is a third thing. So there's killing Melech Heshbon through the oneg and a higher ratzon of doing the things we love. Prayer with precedence, knowing that the world is completely new every day. There's no proof from yesterday. And then lastly, I just said that menucha is a word in Tanakh for a soulmate. And so it's another thing to kind of look for, to try to sense when you're with someone, is a sense of being able to be myself. Even if that person isn't exactly what you're officially looking for, and even if it's not fireworks of attraction or fireworks of romance, but I'm able to really be myself with this person. Maybe there's even someone you already know that you're already really able to be yourself with. And that might be an indicator. Again, this is that's not there's no klalim, but this kind of general rules of this.
Thank you very much.
Yes, amen.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. And, for sure. Send me a WhatsApp with your name, and I'll add you to the broadcast list. We're doing something much the Shabbos with your mate, David Callis.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm up at Shabbos.
Hey, yes, the lead.
Oh, it's not about Shabbos, it's about Shabbos.
People on here.
Whoever wants to admire the other room, there's a ton of yeah, there's tons of stuff.
Shut this off.
Hey people, thank you for watching. Hey Zadie, I'm gonna end it now. Yeah.